businesses think that sales is the most important part of their business, but I would argue that leads is the most important part of your business. And so today, that's what Praise and I are going to talk about in this session. Praise, welcome back to another live Q&A with BA. Welcome everybody else that's joined. And for those of y'all that's watching the replay, what's up? Praise, talk to me, man. What we doing today?
Man, first things first, I appreciate you for making the time once again, man, and your commitment to these. And yeah, we're gonna dive into leads. We're gonna dive into this outreach. And yeah, we're gonna make sure that we always have leads because without no leads, there ain't no business. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about these leads and this outreach, and yeah, we just gonna make sure I have the perfect framework to constantly have that throughout every season that I'm in, no matter if I have a different offer or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so that's what I really wanted to dive into. I've seen that now that I've gotten all the other things situated. This is the most important part for me, like getting these leads, getting this outreach. I mean, making sure I'm doing it the right way. So yeah, that's what we're gonna dive into today.
Solid, solid. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. So first things first. Uh, as you can see, I made my YouTube video, right? First YouTube video, I made that, ended up doing that. I didn't send it to you. I just had a lot of things going on with it to make sure it was good. But I started went the YouTube route because I wanted to make getting content smoother, right?
Mm.
So I was doing it every day, but it wasn't. I just knew where it was taking me. I was like, all right, like I'm not going to be able to sustain this in longevity wise, right? So ended up making the YouTube video and was able to repurpose those clips into the small 30, 40, 50-second clips that you've seen the other day. And I realized that was smoother and it was conviction based because I didn't have to think about it on the spot. It was all recorded, right? So now I'm just repurposing those clips. And I didn't do it in this one, but I'm going to keep in the comments and the call to action, it'll be a video available out now. DM me become. I had to DM me become, but I didn't have like sending that traffic continuously back to the YouTube video. So I also wanted to just get your perspective on that because I wanted to go that route and getting my content, making sure that it's conviction based, but on top of that, that I don't drain myself out in the process of getting content. So I just wanted to ask you about that first, and what do you think about that route?
Yeah, and understanding that the way in which you were creating your content, you felt like was going to lead you to burning out as a result of creating it.
Yeah,
So it was wise of you to take a pivot and not the normal pivot that most people would do at the face of adversity. They just quit doing whatever they was doing.
yeah,
But you shouldn't quit. You should pivot. So you found a different workaround that still gets the same thing accomplished by way of you making your short form content, but you get to do it in a longer form, open format. Now that approach is only successful for some because most people, given a longer runway to speak, they just say more, but they don't say it in a way that it could be repurposed for more. So, like I just did it right there,
yeah.
right? I got stopped and said something that I knew could be repurposed later. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't think they don't speak like that. They just
Yeah,
it'd be a run-on conversation. So then when they go back and try to clip up their long form and turn it into short form, the clips don't make sense. Either you got to add too much context on the front, you got to have too much context on the back. And people, when you convert long form to short form, it got to be within the first 3 seconds that it's still a sticky statement and it's still a hook. Otherwise, the people not going to listen long enough at the context to get to the content, and they're not going to listen to the content if it don't make sense long enough to get to the context.
yeah,
So if repurposing your long form into short form is cool as long as you know that's what you're doing going into it. So that strategically, at different points in that conversation, when you know you're about to make another big idea or create another moment in the dialogue, then you need to make sure that you say things in a way that will be a good starting point for the short form.
mm. No, that's good. That's so good because honestly, it's funny that you say that. And I remember we talked about this couple calls back, but you were like as you have the content, you're going to be able to do like same word alliteration, right? You're going to have the same words with same prefixes and suffixes and things of those nature. And it was funny because as I was in the midst of me doing the content, it's funny, I wasn't even thinking about it, but I was just speaking in that way to where I would say a sticky statement, pause for a second, knowing that, I wanted to repurpose these for short clips because one, to make the process easier. For me personally, it makes the process easier, right? So now I'm just going back to the sticky statement, just posting that because I was doing the content short form every day, but it was like I would rather already have these clips than waking up like, all right, bro, I gotta record. Like, because at times, the schedule is scheduling, right? So now I'm doing things throughout the schedule, and then it's like, oh my God, I gotta post some content, and it wasn't a consistent time I was posting it. So that's another thing that I was making sure, because now my schedule is just scheduling. So now I'm like, it's like 3 o'clock. And then I'm like, yesterday I posted at noon though. And then today I posted at like 4. And then the next day I'm posting at like 5. So I'm like, yo, I can't keep doing this. Like, this isn't consistent. I need a consistent time every day where the content is going up. So now I'm like, I want to do it in the earlier hours, like how you do it. Like, I haven't seen you really posted content like past like 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never see you do that. So I wanted to copy the same thing. So that's the reason why I took this pivot, because I wanted posting my content consistently at the same time instead of just having whenever my schedule opened up, then I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna just record a quick video, and now I'm like, I don't want to rush it. I want it to be conviction based, right? So there were so many different elements to that I was like, okay, how can I get all of this done in the most efficient way possible? So I was like, I'm gonna go long form to create short form, and that's why I went the YouTube route. And I started a series. It was called The Blueprint, and I was talking about how you could be 3 things: absent, average, or the answer, right? And then I go into teaching the emotional intelligence tools, frameworks, and the principles. So that's the reason why I went that route. So that's why I'm just grateful you even said that, because I wanted to make sure that I was doing it efficiently, right, and effectively. I didn't want to just be posting content and it has no correlation to the offer that I have or my message, right? So I wanted to make sure that I was being consistent with that. And now my second question is,
I just want to add to that really
yeah,
quick.
yeah,
I agree with you. Posting the same time daily is a wise thing to do, right? Not only does it create consistency for um, your audience, but it creates consistency for the algorithm, okay? To where you become more predictable in that regard, especially important on YouTube. That being said, though, I would highly recommend not just you, but anybody that's listening to this, make sure you check your insights to find out when you're most viewed, right? So we didn't arbitrarily pick the time that we pick in the post. That's predicated off of data that our social media manager pulled to see when our audience views our channel most. So those times were picked based on that. That may differ for it will differ for everybody. Some people it may be the same time frame, but for others, depending on where your audience is coming in from, what their demographic is in terms of, do they work 9 to 5s, are they business owners? All of that's gonna have an impact on when they consume your content specifically. So I would just say, as a caution to everybody, if you're gonna pick a time, don't pick it arbitrarily. Pick it based off of what the insights tell you.
mm, man, that's great. Um, yeah, that's good. That's a great gem. I gotta go back and do that. Matter of fact. And now my next question would be, um, so you said this quote that you said is stuck in my mind, and I want you to just press into it a little bit more for me. You said how you no, sorry. Do everything like do anything like it's important. Do everything like it's important, because anything can change everything, right?
Yeah.
And I want you to just press into that for a second, because I've been able this week. I did a lot of reflection, and with the video you posted about success is planned, and I literally went back throughout my old schedule because I had tasks, but I didn't have time, right? So I just put tasks in my schedule, but it wasn't planned. So then I went back, planned all my time, like, okay, this time I'm using for my walk with God, this time I'm using for my business, this time I'm using for personal, right? So I planned it, and immense success, right? Everything is already changing. I'm seeing how more dialed in I am, how more focused I'm getting, more strategic, more efficient. And that was just one thing that I changed, but it's been changing everything, right? So I wanted you to just press into that more, because I feel like that's been a quote that's like practically changed my life. So
Yeah, do everything like it's the most important thing because anything can change everything. Do everything like it's the most important thing because anything can change everything. Look, it directly ties into Colossians 3 and 23.
mm,
Do all your work as if you're doing it for the Lord, not for human masters, because you know that your reward comes from the Lord. So if I do everything like it's the most important thing, I understand that anything can change everything because he over the reward. So as an example, shout out to Ashley Kirkwood, right? So she, when we got our two Comma Club awards in Vegas back in February, Ashley got an opportunity to speak at Funnel Hacking Live, right? It's 5,000 people there. And she talked about how the way she got that speaking engagement wasn't even because Russell knew her. Somebody from Russell's team had saw something she had posted, just a simple piece of content, and she was the one that recommended that Ashley get the opportunity. So Ashley don't know none of them. She don't know Russell. She don't know Russell's assistant. They saw her in a piece of content that she posted, and when the spot came available, right? So what does that mean? Even when you're doing your content, treat everything like it's the most important thing because anything can change everything. I don't care what it is that you do. The way you greet the janitor when you walk by him, right? It's you have no idea, bro. Like the way in which God can bless your all.
mm.
How God will bless your all when you put your all into something and you do everything like it's the most important thing because you understand that anything can change everything. Everything will change in your life. The I didn't know my commitment to giving, right? I've always been committed to giving to the kingdom. Like always, I may have messed up everything else on my walk, right? But I always just been consistent in giving. I never had that issue, which I later found out that Christians are more holy than they are um, willing to tithe. I didn't know that. I was just the opposite. I was a lukewarm Christian, but I always gave consistently with my tithe.
Mm.
And unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize in doing that people was watching. I never knew that, bro. Right? I'm an elder of a church, so I get it now. But at that time, I didn't know, and it got the attention of some. Um, like who was this guy that then gave six figures at our church? We don't even know him. But I never looked at it like I was giving it to the church. I looked at it like I was giving it back to the Lord. So I
Yeah,
never, all of these things never occurred to me. I'm just happy that He blessing me and I'm giving it back.
yeah.
And that faithfulness and the conversations that has put me in and the rooms that has put me in organically after being recognized and having conversation with certain people, I mean, it's made me millions of dollars, bro. Not because I did it for that, just because I did it because I treated everything like it was the most important thing. Because anything can change everything. So it's not even that we do it with the motive of what can come on the other side. That the true essence of the quote is to just do your part with
Mm.
excellence. Because if you do your part with excellence, then he'll show you just how excellent he is.
Can you repeat that last part? Wow.
If you do your part with excellence, he will show you just how excellent he is.
My God. Wow, that is so profound, bro. And I am grateful that you
But
just
we
touched.
gotta stop asking God to bless mediocrity though. We gotta stop doing just enough and then asking him to put his natural his super on our natural. He like, no, I'm putting my super on your mediocre.
So now my question is now, how do you approach your work with excellence? Like, what does that look like? Because I know for you, right, you prepare every day, and I'm like, what does that preparation of with the mindset of approaching it with excellence look like? Because even as I've created this new schedule, I've realized how easy it is to settle for mediocre when if you just don't believe, right? So belief is, you gotta believe or else you'll just continuously do that. But I've realized how easy it is to settle, how easy it is to just conform back to the old ways because these new ones are stretching you. But I've been committed to being excellent. So no matter how I'm feeling, the commitment is to excellence, right? So now I'm still doing the work the same way. I'm preparing as if it's going to happen tomorrow. Like today's my last, right? So there's those aspects of it, but I want to hear your perspective on how do you approach your work excellent? Like, what does that look like?
Yesterday I went out on a run, and I mean, within the first mile, I was like, "Oh yeah, this ain't today." Like, yeah. It's 9:30 a.m. I don't wait a little bit too long today. That heat then came out. Like I'm feeling a culmination of everything I've been feeling since last week. I'm still tired. I'm a little shot, and I get down to like the last third of the run, and I realized that I'd already made a commitment to myself before I left as to where I was gonna stop. And I also realized that in that very moment, I could have stopped and would have nobody knew. I could have stopped and even if they knew, nobody was about to be tripping, right? Like, but I knew the commitment that I had made before I took off, and so I had to end up where I said I was gonna stop. For me, that's what it looked like for me. When I went to the gym this morning, I did not feel like going to the gym today, and I'm supersetting between shoulder press and curls, and I'm like, I'm like 6 on my curls, but the commitment was 10. I dropped it, but then I had to pick it back up and finish them last 4. Like that's what it looked like for me.
Mm.
What did I commit to? Because whatever I committed to started with an excellent thought. Because I don't commit to mediocrity. I may end up in mediocrity, but I don't commit to mediocrity. My standard is always set high. If
Mm.
I fall short, I may end up in something mediocre. But I don't set my sights on mediocrity though. Your standard should be your floor, not your ceiling. So my standard is excellence. So if I fall beneath my standard, I end up in mediocrity. But I won't ever set my goal at that though.
Wow. My goodness. Wow. You may end up in mediocrity. You don't commit to mediocrity. That's powerful, bro. Because man, I was listening to this teaching the other day, and he was saying that there's nothing in the Bible that describes us as average. There's nothing in the Bible that describes us as average. So if God is excellent, he expects us to be excellent as well. And it just shifted my whole perspective on who taught me how to be mediocre. Like who taught me how to be average and to just settle and to not want the best for myself. Because I was thinking of people of your caliber, the people who've made millions of dollars in their space. I'm like, there's a different like there are so many sacrifices you have to continuously make. And there's a quote where it's like, if you don't sacrifice for your goals will become your sacrifice. That's true, right? I see
Mhm.
like all the people who have made it. I'm like, yo, they've sacrificed immensely. And I realized like my biggest issue to getting to excellence was the sacrifice I was willing and unwilling to make. Right. So now I'm realizing that there's plenty more sacrifices. Like, for example, going to the gym. Today I don't feel like going to the gym, but guess what? I committed to going to the gym, so I'm gonna go to the gym. And it's like it's those things because, like you said, nobody's seeing your commitment but you. And I'm just so grateful you touched on that because I want to continuously embrace this mindset of excellence. That is something that I've seen you repeatedly mention and showcase as well. So I just want to make sure that I'm staying in that mindset because there's no point of me wanting to enter the marketplace with mediocrity. Like that is not an option for me personally. Like I don't care if somebody want to do that. Me personally though, I'm not entering the marketplace in mediocrity like at all. Like there may things that I do that may go there, but like you said, my sights are set on excellence. So I'm just grateful you touched on that.
It's similar to this for me. As you know, I pay for coaching, right? Spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on business and personal development. Whenever I pay somebody to coach me, I do exactly what they tell me to do. And not only do I do exactly what they tell me to do, I do it immediately. I live in execution mode. I can't stay in ideation mode. It makes me overwhelmed and anxious because I understand that action is the only thing that brings clarity. So I do exactly what they tell me to do. Now, partially because they've already had success in doing it that way. Secondly, because I can't hold them accountable to what didn't work if I didn't do the work.
Mm.
So as it pertains to God, if I don't give it my all, where do I get off complaining in that closet to him? I mean, how can I really be having a gripe with God about something that I didn't do my very best yet? Because at my ending is his beginning. Where am I ending up at though?
My goodness. I needed to hear that. Wow. My goodness. Where do I get off at complaining? Because man, it is so easy to complain about something you do not put your best effort in. We be wanting the promise and not the process,
Facts.
right? So I've been, wow, that's so, bro. Thank God for your brain. I'm gonna repeatedly tell you that, because man, that is so powerful, bro. Because it is so easy to just be like, God, where's my promise? Where's my fruit? Where's the harvest? But it says God's not. You can't mock God, right? What a man sow, he gonna reap, right? So if we sow mediocrity, if we sow just enough, our harvest is going to be just enough for mediocrity, or even less, right? Like, man, that's so good, bro. That's so good. And I want to just pivot here and ask this question because pertaining to the YouTube videos I'm gonna make, and the content that I'm about to start getting into, what makes a great speaker? Like, what has made you a great speaker? Like, what is it? The books you read, the amount of reps, like what things did you do? Because as I do this content, yesterday, I had somebody like basically dissect my video, right? And there were so many good points. He was like, it kind of made him almost forget the main point, right? So I'm like, I want to make sure I'm driving home the main point every time, because I could talk about how God is good, and I'm like, oh yeah, but he's sovereign and he's faithful and he's a blesser, right? So now you're like, wait, is God sovereign? Like I thought we were talking about that. So I want to make sure when I'm making these videos, I'm driving the point home, and you do that 10 at break the scale, because so I wanted to ask you how what makes you such a great speaker, and how do you do that?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you acknowledging me as such. I This ain't false humility, by the way, right? I can't take full credit. It's the gift,
Yeah.
right? He because of my assignment, he gifted me with the tool of communication because he knew I would need it to carry forth my assignment, right? At the same time, though, similarly to LeBron, being so gifted in his prowess, he still invests a couple $1 million a year in his dietitian and all the recovery stuff that he do for his body, all of the mindset stuff and coaching that he gets. So what does that mean? That means that having the gift is the start, refining it is the journey, right? So there's been a lot of work that I've done to refine it on a daily basis. It's the thing that reminds me of just how far I need to go, because you will never master it, right? I'm always like looking at different areas in which I can improve upon, but I think it's just being intentional about listening to great orders, intentional about reading books of great orders, and then being aware and critical of yourself, of always challenging yourself to move beyond where you are, right? Even though the things may be effective where you are, to move beyond where you are. And to your point, yes, reading how others write helps you be a better speaker. Writing out your own thoughts help you to be a better speaker. Communicating in various settings helps you be a better speaker, right? So I'm gonna communicate a certain way on this YouTube live. I'm gonna communicate slightly different in my Instagram or my short form social media. I'm gonna get on my long form podcast and I'm gonna communicate differently there. I'm gonna go and train in believers in business and I'm gonna communicate differently there. Then I'm gonna get in front of a live audience and I'm gonna communicate differently there, right? And so that helps to refine the gift because there's so many different expressions of it. First of all, here's the thing: just being consciously aware that they're all different is a start.
Mm.
Knowing that those different formats calls for a different cadence, it calls for a different approach, right? It calls for a different style. One of my greatest gifts in my gift of communication is being able to take complex things and make them simple for people. That's the part that I don't take credit for because I don't know how I do it. I just do it. It's similar to like my consultant, his son. When I tell you he could stand behind me and draw both of us clear as day to blow your mind, right? But he actually went to school for law to become a lawyer. And one day, my consultant wife asked him, asked his name is Tariq, asked Tariq, son, how did you learn to draw like that? He said, I didn't. I just draw. So me and my consultant got this inside joke, if you will, when we see certain people like, yeah, they can draw. My ability to take complex things and make them simple for people to understand is just effectively my ability to draw. Because I don't know how to. I think for me, because I don't allow things to stay complicated in my mind, then I refuse to communicate things that are complicated to others.
Mm. Man, no, that's good because I want to make sure, literally, and I know you said is you can just draw, right? So I know you could do that, but it's because mainly when I am communicating on my um when I'm communicating and making these videos on my YouTube, right? I want to make sure that I'm communicating in various different ways, right? I want to make sure I'm communicating in literally all aspects. So when I do repurpose my content, there's some content that's for the short form. Then there's some content that's for the YouTube. Then there's some content I could use to that'll drive more leads because there's certain things you can say in that video that are like because like I wanted to have a segment in my video where I like break off and be like, hey, like how you did for your Purpose to Profits challenge in your videos. Like it'll be a segment where it cut off and you're like, hey, if you're looking X, Y, and Z, this Purpose to Profits, right? And I wanted to implement that because right, I feel like it's so important to have those different various speaking models and avenues within the same video. Right. I don't, like you said, it can usually just be a run on conversation. And I'm grateful that I didn't do that because when I hear you speak, I'm like, okay, so he's pausing here, he's waiting here, he's emphasizing this. Like I'm seeing what areas you're doing what. Because there's times when you'll say something, you'll just sit and then like, did you hear what I just said? Like, you'll have those moments where you like, I hope that didn't go over your head because what you're saying, it'll change our life. But then there's other times where you just going in on that one point and driving that home. So that's where I'm like really focusing on, because when I study you, I see you do that. Like, for example, in Purpose to Profits, like, bro, it's like a boxing match. Like, that's the best way I can explain it. Like, you may be hitting the same jab and I was body shot and it's uppercut. And it's like, I'm like, yo, like, there's just no what, you can't sit still and not get hit, right? Like, you're everywhere is getting hit. So that's where I was like, I want to be like that. So me studying the way you speak, you have so many different, like, the bag is deep, right? Like, you just can't guard you. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what it is. Like, so you go hit the fade, you may hit three, right? So there's so many different levels and avenues that you speak on that I'm like, okay, I need to take these elements out of his speaking, right? I can't obviously model the same thing. There's one thing that I did steal from you for sure, which is to ask me how I know. Now I'll be stealing. I had to steal that. I was like, listen, ask me how I know, because I've been there, right? And I feel like that was like it it's like the even that way you put it, it's so profound, because it's literally like a double entendre. Like, literally ask me how I know, but it's like, bro, I've been there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's putting two in one. So I had to take that, but there's so many
Yeah.
different
By
elements
the
of
way,
speaking.
since we're giving credit, shout out to Rod Cleef. I was at this commercial real estate event in Denver, like back in 2017, 2018 maybe. And I heard Rod Cleef say it, and it just stuck. It was one of those ones that it just stuck. And so yeah, I got to give Rod his due, because
Mm,
yeah, it was a keeper, man. So that's another thing, right? Again, just being around. Now, I wouldn't even say Rod is a great communicator, but I would say, like, being around, I can always learn something from everybody,
yeah,
right? I may pick up something because I'm super sensitive to communication and language. Like, I listen to what people say, bro, and I may get something from feeding the homeless,
mm,
like, because people are people, regardless of whatever their social economic situation is, and that none of that matter, man. They're all created in the image of God.
yeah,
So they all special in their own right and regard. So I'm always open to learn something, and I learn by listening. You know, I'm a sponge first in every room I walk into, and when I feel that it's appropriate to then speak, I will. But I don't rush to speak to just say something,
yeah.
because a lot of people talk, but they're not saying anything.
Tell me about it.
So one of the things, let's go back for a second, because I don't want to just blow by that.
Yeah.
So who dissected your video that gave the observation or recommendation?
Actually, it was from taking you and David's advice from doing outreach, right? So I ended up outreaching to another um well-known entrepreneur on it was from TikTok. So he had a video he posted, ended up reaching out, and we were talking about just, connecting and collabing and all these different things, and wanting to, because I remember you were like, when you do outreach with some people, ask about if you could collab, go on live with them. So you had a audience of the same type of people that I want to bring in, right? The next generation of leaders, thinkers, all of that stuff. So we were talking about that, and his audience was literally that. Like, I'm going through the comments, they all entrepreneurs, all aspiring entrepreneurs. So I'm going through it. I end up clicking on his page, end up shooting him a nice little outreach message of like, hey, I'd just love to have a conversation. We end up having a conversation, and then literally the next day, I was dropping my video, and I was like, yo, would you mind, just tuning into my video? Let me know what you think. Let me know X, Y, and Z. And then he ended up watching the video and then gave me a review on, yo, like, I just think you should do these elements, because you had a lot of great points. But he was like, next time, just drive the point home more. So it was actually another entrepreneur in the same space as me as well. So,
Okay, cool. So I would agree with him again. And bro, you 23, right?
yeah,
So some of this is gonna happen through osmosis, but other other parts of it will happen because you're being intentional.
yeah.
So there's a fine line between having alliteration and overusing it.
Mm,
the whole purpose of alliteration or a sticky statement is because you want to say this thing in a way to make it rememberable for them. Not that you want to say everything in a way so that you are remembered. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
So
really good.
the purpose of the alliteration or the sticky statement is to say something in a way that you know is important, that you want them to be able to grab and take with them.
Mm.
But if you speak with too much alliteration, then it just makes you feel more profound, but it's not good enough for them to be able to take with them so that they can then have something profound happen in their life.
That's really good. Wow. I was
So
even
too
thinking.
much alliteration will actually clutter the conversation.
Mm. You just got these in the vault up here. Is that?
I've never said that a day in my life.
Cause what? Like you just got these in the vault, man. No, that's so good, bro. Oh my goodness. Like not saying too much to be remembered, saying something to remember.
Yes. You
Man,
want them to be able to remember it. You want them to be able to remember it, not remember you.
mm, that's so good, bro. That's so good. And I want to kind of um pivot to a question we got in the chat. And it says, this is from Highline 77. He said that you should be self-driven to succeed or else you're not starving enough. And he says, so why then do you need God?
You should be self-driven.
You should be self-driven to succeed or else you're not starving enough. So why then do you need God?
You should be self-driven unless you're not starving enough.
Yeah, he said you should be self-driven to succeed or else you're not starving enough. So why do
Yeah.
you need God?
I mean, it's a couple things to that, right? It's people that starve every day that accepted welfare as a solution. So starving is not the prerequisite for having hunger. The prerequisite for having real hunger is first having vision. And to have real vision, then you need God's direction to give you the vision.
It's good. That's good. I don't got nothing to add. That's good.
I mean, me either. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's
I mean,
all that's
yeah,
good. I believe that's that, right? And obviously there's a plethora of things we can say on why you need God, but it's like if you want true purpose, you want true fulfillment, you want to know why you were actually put on this earth
yeah,
and not live a life of trial and error, you go to God.
yeah.
Simple put, right?
Yeah, and if your ambition is great enough to play the other side, then it's like you can end up rich and miserable
Mm,
without the anointing and without the
yeah,
covenant.
that's good.
I mean, ask me how, right?
Yeah,
So there's that.
that's good.
There's a reality that Will Smith calls, as much as we talk about rock bottom, we don't talk enough about cliff top. Well, many people haven't achieved cliff top, which is the exact inverse of rock bottom. It just
Mm,
happens at the top. So most people talk about rock bottom, they can't go any lower. People at cliff top, will make 50 million a movie. It's nothing else you can buy. You get to cliff top and realize that you're just as depressed as if you were at rock bottom. And he said, and only at cliff top do you realize the whole goal was to find yourself. Well, in order to find yourself, you got to find the creator first because you didn't make yourself. So, however you slice it, it's my point.
yeah.
If you're a wise person, you're going to want to be yielded to your creator.
Nah, that's good, man. That's so good, bro. This why you the mentor. My goodness, just always got something. Yeah, because you know what's funny? just quick topic about peak top, and then I'll pivot to these questions about leads and outreach. Um, in me not achieving that yet, it's funny how, like, at first that was the goal, right? To get there, like, oh, I'm gonna get this and get that
For
and get
sure.
this and get that. And then I was reading, obviously, the word because I'm in Matthew, and Jesus goes, what is a man profit to gain the whole world, but to then lose his soul? That's him talking about peak top. Like, he's talking about that right there. And I didn't realize that until you just said it. And I'm like, that's peak top that Jesus was talking about, where you get everything and you don't find yourself. You don't know why you were created. You don't have no purpose, no fulfillment. Because I remember the last call, you were like, the only way to feel fulfilled is to do something fulfilling. And I'm just, you don't get that without God, right? So I just was thinking about that because I'm like, for a long time, I realized how that was the goal for me, but I would only end up losing my soul in the process, losing myself, right? And I'm grateful you just touched on that because that's so powerful, bro. Like, you don't miss, but I told you that already. You don't miss, but yeah. Now
The thing, your job is what you get paid to do. Your work is what you were made to do.
I'm gonna start coming here with pencil and paper.
So I'm just saying. So if your job is what you're paid to do and your work is what you made to do, and you're not talking to the creator, the one that made you, about the thing that you're supposed to be doing that he made you to do, you're gonna be in trouble.
No, that's
You quit jobs. You don't quit your purpose.
mm. You just say that again.
You quit jobs. You don't quit your purpose.
Man, that's good, bro. What? You quit jobs, you don't quit your purpose. So why do you think people quit their purpose?
Mismanaged seasons,
Mm, that's good.
not having boundaries, giving people too much access, giving people authority over your gifts and a specific purpose,
Mm,
burnout as a result of that, just mismanaged seasons, not having all the right tools and resources to make sure that you can sustain whatever it is that you're supposed to be working on.
my goodness. Wow. Wow. That's good, bro. That's good. That's good. Mismanaged seasons. I don't think that gets talked about enough at all. At all. Wow. That's good. Mismanaged seasons. Wow. That's good. All right. So now I want to pivot into these questions about leads and outreach. So now I have honestly really have everything set up, right? So I have my um I've seen that for most people um having I'm using Linktree, right? And when I use my Linktree, it got everything attached to it. I've been seeing that that's been driving the most success when I do talk to people about, like, where can I find you? I'm just like, yo, here's my Linktree. You can scan this code. Everything is there, and it's been bringing people quicker to connect to my YouTube, connect to all my channels, Instagram, all that good stuff. So I've been using that because it's simpler for people. So I wanted to find a simple and effective way to get people, and I've been using my Linktree, right? And that has been helping me to, when I am doing outreach, when I am trying to, talk to people, do these DM outreaches and all that stuff. I've been seeing that that's been the fastest way. They're going, wow, this is very smooth and efficient because everything's just there. Now they don't got to click this button to click that button to click that button. It's just click, right? So I've been doing that, but now I want to, because literally without no leads, there's no business, right? And I made a mention of it in my YouTube video at the end that I have a 4-week training coming soon, which is my offer. But I wanted to know, how do I go about getting leads, like plain put, whatever the framework is, because the there were a few people the other day that followed my page, but I'm like, you're just following to be an audience and not to be like a buyer, not to really transform. You're just like, let me just support, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, oh wow, like this is
What
what
makes you think that though?
I would say it's because of me already knowing them,
Hmm.
like me knowing them from previous seasons and seeing what they currently do with their life. I'm like, I'm making the assumption, right? So I'm not gonna exclude them from reaching out, but it's like I'm just are you really following to be transformed, or are you just following because this is just you're just trying to support me and be like, oh wow, like good job, like I'm gonna just give you a quick follow, nice little like here and there, like I need people because for example, like, and I don't care about having 1,000 people saying this in the comments, but when I'm like or comment, for example, Blueprint. I need you commenting Blueprint, right? Like that's what I'm thinking about. I don't care that you like it. Like engage. You know what I'm saying? Like I need you to want to be transformed. But it's like I'll be like comment this, right? And
going back to the text, when they came and reported to Jesus that people who weren't believers was using his name. Remember the disciples was like, oh, they've been over there using your name, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And Jesus was like, oh, they've been using my name? Oh, okay, cool. So you like, man, they just gonna, it's like, yeah, but they followed.
Mm.
They followed. So we just gotta be careful not to put too much constriction around what's supposed to happen next. They followed, regardless of what the intention was. They had 300 million other people on that they could have followed. They didn't follow me. They followed you.
Right.
So to think that they won't turn into a buyer, I think is just short sighted and premature. Sure. And maybe they won't, but maybe they know somebody that is a buyer that they'll send it to.
Mm.
I've had cousins buy challenge tickets unbeknownst to me, and I show up at the challenge. I'm like, Mookie, what you doing here? You know, I don't say that out loud, but in my mind, I'm like, Mookie, what you do? Right? Because they've been sneaking watching content, and they just like, I don't know. I don't know what cuz doing. I'm about to just buy this ticket.
Mm.
So you'd be surprised.
Okay.
And then trust me, my family, the last ones I would have thought bought a ticket come to the challenge.
Man.
And that's happened more than one occasion.
Mm. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you for stretching that mindset for me, because I was just, and I've been working on that as well, because I think just also growing up is always sadly, the church I originally grew up in, it was so easy to put a title on someone and to not. You put a title on them for stagnancy and not for growth. Does that make sense? Like you just judging them in a stagnant season instead of being like, oh, they're gonna grow into that, or they're gonna be more. So I think at times like I fall back into that default of like, yeah, they not even gonna do nothing, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful that you just stretched that mindset for me, because I see myself sometimes do that, and I don't want to approach that in the business space at all. So
yeah, and Jesus tell us just make sure we take the plank out of our eye before we judge others. We look at that as a negative connotation. I don't see it that way though. I think it's just accountability again.
yeah,
It's like just make sure you see yourself clear before you start placing judgment on how you see others.
oh, that's good. And now going on with because I'm choosing a YouTube form.
But another thing you said that I don't want to blow by.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. The link tree is cleaner than most, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then at the very same time, okay, prime example. If you sent me your link tree right now and it had your link to your YouTube, your link to all your links, bro, I'm not going to follow all that. Right? It's the equivalent of being out. This the worst. Catch me at like a networking event and people run around and it's getting more and more convenient, right? You just butt your phones up against each other and then share your contacts. Or they got the dot, right? You got the dot one. They're like, oh, let me dot you. You know, all of that. Bro, I got 3 of your emails, your cell number. Bro, what I'm going to do with this? I don't even, unless you say something memorable, now your name is lost in my phone because I don't even know who you are.
Mm.
That's why when I'm at networking events, I tell people like, what's your IG? Oh, you know Instagram? Oh, okay, cool. I don't just give my number out. Why? Because it's called social media for a reason. So if I meet you somewhere in public and then we start to socialize on social media, we're building more of a relationship than we ever will with me giving you your number, giving you my number, and then just wanting to talk to a stranger. I don't want to talk to people I know every day. My phone is in do not disturb all day. So why would I want to just talk to a random stranger that I met at a networking event? No,
Yeah.
let's socialize on social media and then figure out after we watch each other and how we move if there's something more to be said after that. Let's DM each other a little bit and have some conversation before I decided I want to invest my time with using all of these 3 emails that you put in my phone, right? So same is true. You want you whatever it is that you send them, just send them that. So if I want to send you my lead magnet based on the conversation we had, I'm gonna send you a link to my lead magnet specifically. If I want to send you my YouTube video for you to watch, I'm gonna send you my YouTube video for you to watch.
Mm.
Because a confused buyer never buys. So if they got too many things to choose from, then they choose none. It's overwhelming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I'm grateful you said that because even I was looking at it like there's a lot of links on here. Like it's mine because had literally everything on there. But I'm grateful that there wasn't a lot of people that I sent it out to yet, so I can refine it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to make sure. I'm grateful you pointed that out. I really am because it's funny because I wasn't even thinking about a confused buyer in that aspect, right? I'm just like,
Yeah.
all right,
How do I know which one to pick? You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then what I'm gonna do? Double back and ask you, hey, what out of all these, what's the best one you think? He kind of like, well, I don't really. My YouTube is dope, but you know what? That ebook kind of good too, though.
Yo, you're
Man, that's a tough one. I don't know which one I would pick. You know what? Just book a call. Yeah, just book a call with me. Yeah, let's do that one. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
how do you answer that? I don't know.
yeah, yo, you're funny, bro.
So you gotta simplify for folks, man.
Yo, you're you right though, bro. You're right. That's funny, bro. Because
Self-select. Like, you know what? My YouTube really ain't that dope. Now that you mention it, just take the ebook. Yeah, just take the.
bro, you're funny. Oh my goodness, because that's
But here's the
literally
thing that I want everybody to understand on this call. If you thinking it, they definitely thinking it.
Mm.
So how you thought this a lot of links, they definitely thinking this a lot of links.
Yo, that's great. I'm grateful.
Sometimes we got the answer to our own questions. You know what I mean? And we just like, maybe I'm being critical. No, maybe you being cautious. You know what I'm saying? If you think it's a lot of things, they definitely think it's a lot of things. Like, well, I don't know which door to go to. Which one you want me to do?
No, that's good, bro. And I'm definitely gonna refine that after this call, bro.
So to double click on that, since we're here, right? So let's just say I'm having a conversation with somebody in the DM, and I'm asking them qualifying questions because the best answer is a great question. And then as I'm talking to them, I figure out, okay, they looking for help. Like they ready to probably make a tangible buying decision. That may be a person that I say, hey, have you ever had a strategy session with our team? Oh, you haven't? Okay, cool. Would you like to set up one? Absolutely. Okay, cool. I send them the link to book a call.
Mm.
Others that I hear, it's like, I'm just trying to find something new to do. I'm trying to get out of this corporate situation, yada yada yada. They more in tire kicker mode. They in ideation mode, right? So then it's like, have you ever been to one of our Purpose to Profits challenges? Oh no, I haven't. What's that about? Oh, that's where we help people identify their purpose and make a whole bunch of money as a result of doing so. A lot of people focus on making 6 figures in a year. We actually teach a strategy to do that in a day. Would you like the link to sign up? Right? Boom, send them that link. Somebody else, they may say something else, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? It'd be great for you to come to my YouTube live on right. So it takes some work to look at people not like numbers but like humans, and to actually have a thoughtful conversation with them, and then you as the leader, as the entrepreneur, as the business owner, discern what's the best method of helping them with their next step.
Mm.
That may be come to my live. That may be get my free download. That may be like we got to stop forcing. And I'm not saying this is you now. I'm saying this to everybody else. We got to stop forcing people into what we just force people into. Instead of giving them the optimal next step for themselves. They'd be a lot happier than to just get spammed with everything that you think they want.
It's good.
So
It's
we
good.
talk about lead flow. It's like, how do you steward over the leads you got?
Mm.
Oh, you only got three? Go deep with them three. You worried about going to get another 100 of them, which is important at some point. But you got three here right now, though. Don't mess around and trip over dollars to pick up pennies.
Yeah, you just answered you just answered everything, I guess, right there. Because I'm sitting here thinking about 100. It's like, you better steward over the people that's following you and tuning in right now, because I was more, I'm grateful you said that. Because the quote that you said, you got to go deep with a few than to go shallow and wide with many, right? So, yeah, bro, I think,
And that don't mean not go and build relationship with other people that have
yeah,
audiences.
yeah, yeah,
Mean not do live collaborations with other people's audiences, right? Um, if somebody has a decent sized audience and they probably have your avatar within their audience and they don't have the same offer that you have, then it's good to collaborate with those people. Meaning, I wouldn't find somebody that have when I had my real estate offer, I wouldn't go find somebody else that was in real estate and then collaborate with them. Because chances are they already offering them real estate coaching. So then why would I come on their platform and compete against them?
yeah,
Right. But I may find somebody that has, you know, I'm just going to use real estate as an example, right? So I may find somebody that has a financial service business of some sort
yeah,
where they're teaching people, retirement planning, um, maybe even some stocks, things of that nature. And then I know that real estate is a good hedge to complement what they're teaching for tax shelter purposes. So I reach out to them and then collaborate with them to some degree to leverage their audience for my offer. And then offer the person that has the audience a profit share. So let's just say I'm selling a $297 challenge ticket. Then I can say, hey, for every challenge ticket sold on this live, I'm gonna give you 50%. Or I'm gonna give you 100%. It didn't cost me nothing. I'm gonna come on your live. We gonna give value to your audience. I'm gonna make an offer at the end. I'm gonna give you 100% of the ticket sales. But you just got 10 people into your challenge that you could potentially sell your five figure, multiple 5 figure, 6 figure offer to. And that lead didn't cost you nothing other than whatever time you spent speaking. We live in like today is the day of collaboration. So if you ain't got the audience, go leverage somebody that does while you build yours.
mm,
That's the fastest way to build an audience is to borrow one.
that's good, bro. Fastest way to build an audience is to borrow one. Okay, that's good. Yeah, bro. You just nailed like 10 of my questions in a one answer. I appreciate that because I feel like I was I was thinking about too many ways to do it. Like, oh, I should go this way, and it's just like, bro, like, just go this way. First, borrow an audience, and then do outreach. Simple. Like, that's the two
Fact,
things. Like,
fact.
borrow an audience and do outreach, and then from there, just keep.
In the meantime, love the one you with.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
ones that's already there, you pour into them heavily. You they waiter. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? What can I do for you today? Right?
yeah,
You keep going deep with them while you building out the rest of them. But you know, it's like you got a chick at the crib, you keep taking your eyes off of her looking outside, you're gonna be in trouble. It's the same thing. You gotta love the one you with.
No, that's good. That's good.
Right? Gotta love the one you with. You look
And
up both.
yeah, you're right.
They
You're
say
right.
bird in the hand beat two in the bush. Somebody said, how do you handle clients? I wish I had some more context for that,
It
Will.
I could show you that. It says,
Uh,
how do you handle clients who initially expressed interest in signing up, proceed with signing the contract, and then change their minds, or people wishing to collaborate, then changing their minds? He says it seems like many people say yes, but aren't straightforward with their intentions.
oh, I love this question, Will. I can't stand me them people. You know what I'm saying? I cannot stand those people you just described, Will. Oh man, seriously, like that's why traditionally I don't go outside and play well with others because when I say something, I mean it. Others people say stuff they don't. And I don't understand how to take that because I don't really understand how you do that. I don't understand how you say something you don't mean to somebody. Like what like intentionally say something that don't mean things change, things don't I'm talking about when you knew from the time you let it out your mouth, you never meant it. That's crazy to me. So I have a very difficult time like dealing with that. And so that's one of the things that the Lord been dealing with me as I've been dealing with it. Cause the truth of the matter is, in order to be really successful in this world today, you got to learn how to deal with those people. And it's a numbers game in that regard, in that you just got to have enough of those conversations about collaborations with enough individuals to where you may send out 30 outreach DMs and maybe three respond. Like that's really the math, to be honest with you, right? And coming to terms with that and understanding again, you control the input, God control the outcome. It's hard to see it in that exchange because you really feel like it's you and whoever the person is. But if the text says that he could change the heart of a king, then it's still up to him at the end of the day. So I really don't have a great answer for you, Will, to make you feel better because I struggle with the same thing. If I despise anything, it's people that just say stuff they don't mean. I don't understand. I really do not understand that. Okay. So, but you have to do it if you want to be successful. You're going to have to learn how to coexist with people that aren't always equally yoked. I would not partner with people that aren't equally yoked, but I would collaborate with people that aren't equally yoked. That's two totally different things, right? That mean we can have dinner, but I can't take you home to meet my mama. You see what I'm saying? It's two totally different things. Okay? So, for those that caught it. Okay. In terms of the people who initially signed the contract and changed their minds, they did you a favor. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So if they went as far as signing the contract with you and then reneged, you have to rest on the fact that whatever you got is so good that it was gonna help them that they missed out. You didn't miss anything because if they that wishy-washy on the front end, they're gonna emulate that same behavior when they come in. So you got to let them. Okay. Are there things upstream of that to make sure that it don't happen? Certainly. Okay. Not to say that it won't happen, but that it will happen less. The vetting process as it pertains to collaborations, in terms of the clients that may flake out, one of the things that we don't even send a contract until after they pay, right? So I mean that's one way to negate that piece. We used to do it the way that you do it right now, years ago. Send over that contract don't mean nothing. It what it becomes is a false sense of security that y'all are doing something that y'all are not yet. It makes them feel like they're taking a tangible step forward. It makes you feel as if they're taking a tangible step forward. But until they send that money, they're not taking no tangible step forward. it's the allure, and it's wearing out your DocuSign. You might as well put them files somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever your method of sending over contracts are, you might as well just say that paper, because it don't mean anything, right? And so it's getting more buy-in from them and commitment up front to a point where they ready to make a payment. And when they ready to make that payment, then we go through our whole onboarding process. We send over the contracts and all the rest of it. Okay. And they still protected. We got 3-day recension. So like if they for whatever reason ain't like so we ain't holding nobody money hostage, but we also ain't wasting time doing contracts that aren't going forward either. Okay. So that's just an important piece that best practice has worked very well for us. I know colleagues do it the same way. The biggest out there in the game do it the same way. I hope you were still on here, Will, to get that. If not, I suppose you will see it on the recording.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. They did me a favor. I ain't even think about that. That's great, man.
Yeah, but if they saying yes and aren't moving forward, it's because they haven't really said yes yet.
Mm.
They said yes to looking at that contract. They ain't said yes to actually completing the process. They may have verbally told you they were completing it, but in their mind, they're saying yes to that to looking at the contract.
Mm. That's good, bro. That's good. Yeah, man. Listen, you literally answered my question in a nutshell. I was, how do I go about this? What do I do about that? You were like, brown audience, do outreach, go deep, and love the one you got at the crib.
It's a
I got
phenomenal
it.
summary. Well, for
Got
those that missed it, that's a phenomenal summary. Say that one more time for the people in the back.
it. You said, brown audience, love the one you got at the crib, and go as deep as you can with them. Be a server and do outreach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what I needed because my honestly, the next thing, literally the only thing I need for to continuously move on and to, get started with everything that I have is leads, clients, to continue to have this business and to even really start it at that, right? To the way I want to, right? It's already started, but to scale it, I mean, but yeah, so do that outreach. Love the one I got at the crib, borrow that audience, and I'm doing it's funny because the people that I'm doing outreach with already are like, hey, would you like to basically borrow my audience? So through God's grace, he's been moving some pieces around for me to get that situated. But yeah, man, you gave me
Oh,
the
that's wild.
perfect
That's wild.
game plan, right?
Yeah, that's super solid. They already
So
think like that. Yeah.
yeah, bro, I didn't even have to say nothing. They were just like, yo, the way you speak needs to be heard. And I know
Mhm.
people who need to hear this, right? So there I was just like, listen, I'm just a vessel who's willing to pour into what other vessels need to be poured into, right? So
Mhm.
um and yeah,
And that's gonna be good for you, bro. And not just you, but everybody. You asked about how you become a great communicator. It's like practice, you know? So the more opportunities you get, see, if you do anything, it's the most important thing, then anything can change everything, right? So I say that because even when I go live, very seldom is it just like loosey goosey. And if it is loosey goosey, it's because I intended on doing that, right? But for the most part, when I go, it's another speaking engagement. Not that I got a whole presentation prepared, but I'm prepared to present because if people give me their attention and their time, then I have a responsibility to steward over that. So I just can't be smoking blunts and curling my hair. Now I know some people, that's their audience and they just want that, like talking about nonsense. But my audience, my avatar, I gotta feed my sheep, man. So I'd say that to say as you get more of these at bats and you get on other people's platform, it's important that we having these conversations now so that you can start to work on testing different things on different audiences,
mm,
keeping the alliteration but less of it, right? Alliteration and then go deep on the point to drive it home,
yeah,
as opposed to explaining the alliteration with another alliterated statement. like being okay with it was just one alliteration in this 60-second clip. The rest of it was me driving that point home to make it abundantly clear to you
Yeah.
in plain language.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah, bro. You did your job today for me. I appreciate you, B. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir. Appreciate you, man. David is in Mexico at a mastermind, and so I ended up doing our mastermind call to fill in for him today. So yeah, I've been in back to back, so I'm about to go eat some lunch or something. Find something to do.
it. Yeah, you do that. You recover, man. You just gave me the vaulted gem. So I'm good, man. I know my next move. So yeah, I appreciate it, B.
Did this for those of y'all that's watching? Did this help somebody today? Let us know. I don't know, my chat been kind of bugging. I hope the recording come out all right because it seemed like stuff been lagging on my end. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, just a little bit, but you've been good though. Majority of it. I heard everything smoothly.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, well, till next time we see y'all next Thursday. All right, champ.
Yes, sir.